Hi guys, React DevTools in a component test. So this was built in between version 7 and 9, but not anymore because it is buggy. DevTools is buggy. It doesn't really clean up after itself. So Cypress team is considering putting it back in the future when it comes prepackaged. But until then, I know it's hard to live without DevTools, and it's very desirable to have React DevTools if you have only a single component on the page, right? Is usually try to filter it in your application and try to find that component. Anyway, so here's how you do it from scratch. Just launch Cypress, and Cypress's browser is different, right? It's not your own browser. So go to your DevTools, not DevTools, right? Go to your extensions. Let's see, where do we find extensions? Usually that button is displayed there, but okay, so here we go. So you only have the Cypress extension in the Cypress runner, which is great, fine. So let's add React DevTools from the store. I'm showing everything because this is tricky and people can mess it up. But I'll show you how to include everything in your project later. So this has been added. Okay. So if you go to your extensions now, here we go. All right. So once you've added it, right, make sure you close your instance of Cypress and start it again. The second thing you have to do is, and this is done for you if you're using my React Cypress TS template, a certain script that you have to add to your Cypress support component index HTML. And this is a script. So it's already there in the template. If you're using it, if you're not using my template, you just take the script and paste it right there, right? And this is how we used to do use React DevTools prior to version 7. And make sure you just use this, and this is exactly what you need. I had an alternative. That's why I couldn't exactly get my component to work. Um, but the runner still worked. Now, and segueing into the negatives. So the runner is always going to show, right? So if you open up DevTools, right, this reporter runner is always going to show, no matter. So we can do a few tweaks here. Let's see, theme auto debugging component. So let's not expand it. So that's nicer. And then we can try to hide it, but I don't know if that was worth wrestling. And you can also just filter the component, but you need a regex for it, and that's not worth it. So basically what's going to happen is you're going to run a component test and then ignore the reporter, like ignore the Cypress runner component. But then you will have React DevTools for your remaining component, and that is going to be exactly what you need, right? So when I'm mounting this component, I'm wrapping it in these things. And finally, it's showing that nav bar. It doesn't, I don't think it will, yeah, I don't know how do you, yeah, let's see. Oh, oh, sweet. So you can still, okay, perfect. So you can still hover over things and then it's going to be visible there. So let's look at another one. This is kind of a busy component. There's so much header bar. Yeah, this one, nav bar, never mind. Input detail. Let's look at that one. So here you go. Like as we're running more component tests, they're just adding up. So, just have to know about that. Anyway, so you see the props, right? Like props are there as always. And then you can hopefully inspect it, but there we go. Interesting. Anyway, so there are some gotchas, right? It's not amazing, but it's good enough. Like you can see the component there. And I think to get that every component to nicely render all the time, I don't know why this worked, but Hawk. So when I have that, nope, doesn't make a difference. This one doesn't have anything under it. I think that's why. Anyway, so yeah, obviously. So, yep, depending on your component, it's going to show children or not children. So this doesn't have anything under it, and that's fine. Let's look at this one. Right? Yeah, this is like however you're mounting your component, you're going to exactly see that in React DevTools. And yeah, know that the previous ones aren't going to clear, so that's why Cypress doesn't include it. But it's good enough. I think this is pretty okay, right? Perfect. Like you can, yeah, so you can hover over things. Anyway, so that's it. Just install the extension and then copy paste this guy. Um, I have written instructions in my book. I added it to the appendix. I'll put this video too. Um, so you had to put the extension there, but Gleb has an old post, and there it shows how to um, basically include it in your like no setup necessary, right? So if you're kind of a DevX person and you're improving things for your team, what you would do is there's the on before load. There we go. This one. Yep, this is good enough. So basically, you take this part, uh, you would get those extension files, so just download them. And then what you do is open up your repo, and then probably want to you put it under Cypress folder, maybe Cypress support. Yeah, just put it under Cypress support. Um, and then see Cypress. Yeah, just let's say you put it under support, right? Let's say do we have it here? No, we don't. But it's just going to be a folder anyway. So assume that it's under Cypress folder right now, support folder, or somewhere. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. So go to your config file, right? And you might have this setup node events here. So effectively, what you have to do is all that code, and then at the end, you return the config, right? As long as you return the config, if all the stuff wasn't here, let's say, right? Code coverage, it's you. If you return the config, that's fine. So all we're doing here is actually returning a modified config. So this is good enough. And then obviously install the path uh, npm package. Um, however, you probably will name this differently, like React Dev Tools, right? And then wherever you're putting it, just from this location, navigate in there. So most likely this is going to be something like Cypress, and then like support. Now, I mean, I'm sure you can figure that out, but this is how you would make it so that people don't have to locally install their extensions. I'm not going to do this. Maybe I will, but not for my personal things because Cypress includes this at some point. It's just going to be too much work to go through all my 90 something repositories and undo this. So I'm not going to do that. But perhaps for your work repositories, that would be a good idea. Um, I'll add this link and I'll link the video under it so you have access. Cheers, have fun. Enjoy component testing with React DevTools.